Back here with Coach Mangini, we're going viral now. So Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns. What's that?
I said that was a good pass.
That was a good pass?
Yep.
To rally the Chiefs from a 24-point deficit yesterday. But the biggest win might have come before the game. Check out Chiefs rookie wide receiver McCall Hardman showing up to Arrowhead, doing his best LL Cool J impression.
Awesome.
I mean,
I honestly, guys, when I first saw it, because his hand was up by his mouth, I said, is he smoking walking into the stadium? But no, it was just that cold. It was just that cold. That's awesome.
Yeah, it looks like they spent a lot of time on pregame props. Maybe some more time in practice.
You knew that was coming.
Coach got plenty of time. Oh, look how I like it. Look at Coach. Oh.
Coach.
That is
Cuban Coach. I keep it real.
Look at your underwear, Nick.
Somehow you guys make me look the dumbest.
No, I think I might compete on this one for the dumbest.
I look ludicrous.
No, you
Absolutely
look
ludicrous. Coach could pull that off.
I wonder who had the best playlist out of you three. It looked like I'm enjoying somebody's playlist right now.
Coach, I'll buy you that outfit if you'll wear it one day.
I don't love the pants.
I don't think money's the issue, Nick. I don't think it's. I just can't afford it. Otherwise, those are the digs that I would.
That's exactly what I'd have on. Right now.
In a stunner that many still can't figure out, the Titans knocked off Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to advance to the AFC Championship game. And it was a game to forget for Lamar, the probable MVP once again struggling in the playoffs. He had 3 turnovers. He was stopped on 4th and 1 twice. And Baltimore's defense couldn't stop Derrick Henry, who once again led the way, this time with 195 yards rushing. Here's Lamar Jackson after the loss.
Lamar, will it be painful for you over the next year to hear people spend all that time talking about how you haven't won a playoff game, or will you be harder on yourself than anybody else could possibly be?
No, I don't really care about what they say. You know, this is my 2nd year in the league. Many people don't be able to make it to the playoffs. I got a great team with me. We ain't really worried about what the people say. We just gonna keep going. Like I said, get ready for next year.
Yeah, so the narrative is going to be he could do it in the regular season, but he can't seem to do it in the playoffs. I mean, is that true? And what does this say about Lamar, what happened in this game?
I don't know if that's the narrative for me as much as it's the questions that I had during the course of the season, where when the whole world knows that you have to pass and you're behind, are you going to be able to do that effectively? And Baltimore had a very specific way that they won and a very specific way that they were effective throughout the course of the season. And there's a stat at the end of the first quarter where they had the biggest first quarter point differential, biggest first quarter, I think, yards gained, yards allowed differential, and now suddenly that had changed. And they didn't handle it very well, and he didn't handle it very well, and it built upon. It kind of gained steam as the game went on, and I think he could have been helped by calls. I think that asking him to throw less and run more probably would have been a more effective way for them to get back into the game, as opposed to turning him into a significant passer as early as they did.
I agree with you, Coach. I feel this isn't all on Lamar. You know, they haven't had Mark Ingram in this game, and he's been a key running source for the Ravens all year.
Especially on those 4th and 1s where they were stuffed.
Definitely. You're going for 4th and 1, which are like, he's not Tom Brady. He's not 6'5", where he can lean forward and get that 1 yard. This is a guy that's maybe 6 foot. I mean, it just doesn't fit him trying to go for these 4th and 1s when you would usually have a bell cow, Mark Ingram. You know, they dealt with not coming from, well, they had to play from behind. They didn't do that much this year. And they didn't have their key running back, which just opened up the whole offense to hit the tight ends across the middle, because when you're running the ball successfully with Mark Ingram, the linebackers and everybody, they get so committed to the run, and that's where you see Andrews going to the middle of the field. So it's just their whole scheme on offense just had to just take a turn this game, and I just think the whole team didn't handle it well. And it doesn't help that they did come out rusty. They dropped key passes. You see Ertz, when he broke free for a route, he didn't look back for the ball. The ball hit him in the chest. I just felt like the Ravens picked the worst time to play the worst game of their year.
Well, and this was, to Coach's point, this was the concern. And the example I used talking about the Ravens last year, it's a cross-sport example, but I think it applies, especially now that we saw that. I just saw the game this weekend, which was the Warriors pre-Kevin Durant, which is, if you are not an excellent team with a great game plan, you're drawing dead. With Steph and Clay and Draymond on the ball movement, you were simply drawing dead. But if you had time to prepare, if you were drilling down on what they do and what makes them special, all of a sudden you could throw them off and force them to adjust. That's how OKC got up 3-1 on them before they ended up losing the finals to the Cavs. Well, the NFL, if Baltimore got to play a best of 3 against Tennessee, it goes very differently, I believe. They see what Tennessee did. They adjust. Some of the fourth down luck swings back the other way. But, of course, that's not how the NFL playoffs go. And so now to answer the question, yes, this will be a referendum on Lamar. And be careful of anyone that's peddling either of the two extremes today. Anyone that's acting like any criticism of Lamar is unfair, biased, discounting what he did in the regular season, dismiss that. And anyone acting like that this one bad playoff game totally makes what he did during the regular season irrelevant, dismiss that as well. There's a happy medium here, which is the following. Lamar obviously is a top-flight quarterback in this league. He obviously is the reason the Ravens made the playoffs last year and the reason they got the 1 seed and were the dominant force in football this year. What is also obviously true is his rookie season and this season. The worst game he played all year was his playoff game. And they lost both those games. They weren't particularly close in either one of those games. And people are going to discount whatever he does in future regular seasons until he avenges this. And by the way, this is a story we have seen before. It was from a quarterback people had a lot less questions about, but that quarterback's name was Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning in his second year, the team was 13-3. They had a divisional home playoff game against Tennessee. Peyton was terrible in that football game. Then they made the playoffs again 2 years later. He was terrible in that football game. Then they made the playoffs the next year, and they got beat 41-0. His first 3 career playoff games, he had a passer rating average below 60, completed less than 50% of his passes, less than 200 yards per game. And the question for Peyton was, okay, we know how great you are in the regular season. Can you do it in the postseason? And so for Lamar, those questions are going to come up, and that's not unfair. That is how we have judged quarterbacks for a long time, which is it's pressure of the regular season is one thing, pressure of the postseason is another thing. And by the way, as great as Peyton was, and he won 2 Super Bowls, got to 4. He was not as good of a playoff quarterback as he was a regular season quarterback. I'm not assigning that to Lamar, but up to this point in his career, small sample size, it's obviously been true.
See, I give you a hard time about Patrick Mahomes, but you know, or you knew that they had a chance to score and score a lot of points and to score quickly because that's who he is. That's the type of offense that they have. The questions in Baltimore are, can they play from behind? And I've talked about this throughout the course of the season, and they hadn't been in that position. And to me, it's not playoffs versus the regular season. It's when he can't play the style of football that they've set up for him and that's been catered towards his skill set, which he's extremely good at. Is there that second pitch? And that's, to me, the more important question is, does he have the second pitch to where when they're behind, the whole world knows he has to throw? Can he do it effectively and win a game?
And the other concern for Baltimore, big picture, is even with Peyton, you figured, okay, well, he's going to play 15 years. And he's going to play at a relatively high level
because
for the majority of it. Because of his style. Yep. I mean, he's just as traditional drop-back passer as you get. All year long, I have said, who gives a damn if this is sustainable in 2024 if they win the Super Bowl in 2019? Well, it's hard to be better than 14-2. It's hard to have a better path than the 6 seed upsetting the 3 seed, and now they're coming to your building. And this was a missed opportunity, and I don't think Lamar's going to be this level of player for 15 years. Might be this level of player for 7 or 8 years, but that makes each season all the more critical, and it's a missed opportunity for Baltimore.
And now the team that went 14-2 in the regular season is packing. They're done for the season. Coach, stick around. Coming up, is Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback left in the playoffs? I know someone on the set that thinks